Hey everybody, it's Thotme again. I hope everybody's doing well. Tonight, what I'd like to speak to you about is some the ancient mystery school principles. In the mystery schools and indigenous cultures over time, as you walked your walk, your internal journey, they gave you four principles, main principles, four main aspects of ourselves to always be aware of, which is one of the first principles, which would be awareness. The four principles that I have found in these cultures and mystery schools and so on, you might feel is somewhat Buddhist in nature, but that it follows really from the Children of law of one from a long time ago, all the way through any kind of Christian mystic school, all the way up to today. And those four principles are awareness, choice, feeling and experience, and letting go. I've tried to simplify them, and some of the old schools, they might have labeled them a little differently, but I tried to bring them forward to today so people could understand them with a little bit more simplicity. So awareness, choice, feeling, experience, and letting go. What I'm going to cover tonight, kind of in a short way, is the first two. So that's awareness and choice. We'll follow up with feeling and experience and letting go in a future recording. But if we start off with awareness and choice, awareness actually is number one. It is one of the most important principles, you might say, in our journey. And awareness allows us to be aware of everything that's going on around us. And so to deepen that can take some time, but it really is a valuable asset for us. The awareness might be more aligned with your intuition, your heart's intuition, as opposed to a mindfulness kind of thing or a mind-driven awareness. The difference between the two is a mind-driven awareness is more of a definition. What the mind's looking for are defined principles so it can follow something. Whereas in awareness of the heart is more of a feeling, an intuition. You might even say it is a sensation in some ways, but I would stick more with the feeling of what's going on around me. So that awareness can turn into two different areas, which could be an awareness that's a feeling or an awareness that is an intuition or a sensation. So I'm going to go into that eventually too, as far as feeling versus sensation. But for tonight, excuse me, what I just wanted to get into was the difference between a mind awareness and a heartfelt awareness. And then we'll get into choice. So a mind awareness is more of a definition, identity, a personality, the way we look at the world. An awareness of, oh yeah, that's what I agree with, and oh yeah, that's what I disagree with. That's an awareness of duality, of what's right and what's wrong, according to how we grew up, according to the different programs that came into our lives, strategies, and so on, that had us look at life in a particular way. So what happens is we become aware of how we're looking at life in a particular way. What's the definition of love? What's the definition of depression? What's the definition of joy? What's the definition of being at one with something? There's always a definition. It is not a felt awareness, let's say. It is more of a mind-driven awareness, which is a definition of everything. So you want to be really careful here, because obviously if we trap ourselves into a box of understanding that awareness is a definition, that anything outside that box, anything outside that definition that we've come up with isn't truth for us, which means we're not open to other opportunities. We're only open to one way. And so we have to be very careful of that awareness, which is a great word, is a limitation on how we look at the world. We obviously do not want to be limited in our scope so that we can experience all things that are around us. And if we do go from an awareness of the mind, this can limit us in how we look at things. So that's number one. The second part of awareness, which would be more an awareness of the heart, brings in feeling, brings in emotion, brings in this intuition. And an awareness with an intuition is actually right in the moment. It's usually the first thing that comes up for you. So if a situation is in front of you or a person is in front of you, your heart's intuition actually could even happen before you even are in the situation. That's how quick the heart is recognizing situations that are about to happen, actually. The intuition of the heart brings a feeling instantaneously, spontaneously in the moment. Unfortunately, because it is so quick and we're not quite attuned or trained to recognize it, that heart intuition kind of flows by very quickly, just kind of goes. And all of a sudden the mind comes in. If that happens, what most times happen is that first the judgment comes in. So the judgment is based upon a mindful awareness, which is a definition. So I either judge what's going on as being right or wrong, what I do or don't like, that sort of thing. And I then close off my opportunity to fully be aware of what's going on in front of me. I've already labeled and limited what's going on because the awareness has been a judgment. So that intuition that happens from the heart, it's very instantaneous and comes in very quickly, and sometimes it's very hard to recognize. We all know you've heard about having kind of gut reactions, or I should have done that because my heart was telling me that, or my gut was telling me I should have made that decision instead of the ones that I end up making. So we're all very aware, I'm going to say to you, of intuition. We've had experiences of it. Unfortunately, for most of us, we kind of let that pass by, and the mind comes in and wants to be able to create a story that you're used to, a story that you feel safe with, a story that is defined for you already. So you know everything is going to be just fine. Unfortunately, really isn't just fine because we end up holding back. We do not allow ourselves to be fully open to the experience that's presented for us. And so the judgment comes in after the awareness, after the intuition. And as soon as that happens, then the story starts being created as to what looks right, what looks wrong, what's an assumption, what's an expectation, and so on and so forth. So it kind of takes us down this road that really is an illusion. It's not even real. A lot of the things that we start thinking, the story we start making up, it's not even real. It's an assumption. It hasn't even happened yet, but it sure seems real to us. And it causes a story of reality that doesn't even exist. The intuition that happened right in that spontaneous moment actually is the reality of what's going on. But unfortunately, we're not trained so well into understanding that, feeling that, expressing it, and so on. So what I'm trying to present to you is that to look at those two different kinds of awareness and start recognizing and realizing for yourself, which road are you going down? You can actually feel it, sense it, know it. I believe everybody can. I believe everybody has that possibility. And so it's to start recognizing what kind of awareness am I in? Am I in awareness that's a defined awareness? Or am I in an awareness that's more intuitional? You know, is it coming from my intuition? Does it feel? Is it sensing? As opposed to a thinking kind of awareness. Now what this does is once I become aware, more in the intuition side of course, but once I do become aware, even if it is a mindful type of awareness, a thinking type of awareness, what that does is provides me more options. It provides me more opportunity for choices. Those choices have always been there. These are nothing new in reality. The choices there's always been all kinds of potentials that have been available to me. Unfortunately, when I go into an awareness that's a mindful awareness, that is more of a thinking, what ends up happening is I always keep choosing the same thing. And of course, the same results happen. So I get frustrated because I want to make choices that are going to change my life. And I start recognizing, like, well, every time I make a choice, it seems like the same thing happens over and over again. And so I actually am making the same choices, expecting different results. It's like, where did we hear that before? Einstein said, insanity is continuing doing the same thing with expecting different results, and it's never going to happen. So I get locked into an awareness that really is a mindful awareness, a thinking awareness, expecting there to be different choices, different opportunities, And unfortunately, that really usually isn't the case. When I can come into more of an intuition, more of a feeling, more of a sensing of awareness, that opens the door into just an incredible amount of choices that have been waiting for me to be a part of, waiting for me to experience, which truly is living life. If I'm doing it from the awareness of thinking, the choices usually are very streamlined, they're very limited. And because of that, that keeps me stuck in that same arena over and over again. I'm not really living life. Life is living me because I keep doing the same thing over and over again. And of course, that provides frustration and stress and so on. The sooner I can get into that sense of intuition with the awareness, the choices that open up to me, they're a little bit scary in the beginning because they're choices I've never made before. And oh my God, if you go down that road, who knows what might happen there? And you go down that road, who knows what might happen there? And the ego comes in, the mind comes in, and starts bringing you back to the awareness of thinking as opposed to the intuition. And the heart's like, oh, please, let's go and do something else for a change. Let's open up our hearts. Let's start experiencing things from a different perspective and a different feeling, a different place. So I invite you to look at this in that kind of way, if you can. Become aware of the awareness. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Aware of the awareness of what is actually going on. Am I thinking or am I feeling? I always say, am I being with something, which is feeling, sensing? Or am I judging something? Or am I thinking? Am I being with? Am I thinking? Am I being with, or am I present, or am I judging? You know what's going on. I'm going to tell you, you really do know. And it takes a lot of courage to look at yourself in the mirror and say, wow, here I am judging again. There's no reason to be judging any of this. I can take a step back, take a breath, and one of the meditations I have provided, which is a very simple meditation, very short. Take a couple deep breaths, stand back for a second, bring some balance and some harmony into your breath and into your body. Take a step back and recognize for yourself and become aware of, am I aware that I'm thinking? Am I aware of that I'm intuition, feeling? And then what choices am I making? I guarantee you, as you start doing this, your life will change, and it'll change drastically. Might be too quick in some cases, so you get a little scared about it. But in the long run, it'll provide you an opportunity to really fully bring your heart into the experiences of what's going on, and thus provide you more happiness, more balance, more joy, especially at times like this when it's so easy for us to judge. It's just so easy. And I'm just suggesting we need to take a step back a little bit, take a couple breaths, and allow ourselves to be truly in the moment so we can be with people, not judge people, not look at things in a different way, thinking wise, but to be with our hearts and what's going on. So any questions, any thoughts, would love to hear from you. tomschnitzius at comcast.net. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for listening tonight. Namaste. Love you all. Good night.